From stories across the world to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. A very good evening to you. I'm Nitya Sanachandra.
Very good evening indeed. I'm Charita Minipurarachi, and now let's move on to the headlines for tonight's news.
The Parliamentary Select Committee probing the Easter Sunday attacks meets with the President. The Premier points out it is not realistic to go for a constitutional amendment without a majority in Parliament. Families of missing persons are to receive a 6,000 rupee interim allowance with effect from November. Chairman of the Elections Commission says the presidential election will be held on the scheduled date. A fire destroys a 5-story cloth shop in Vattala.
Now in your top story this evening, the Parliamentary Select Committee probing the Easter Sunday attacks met with President Maithripala Sirisena and the Presidential Secretariat this morning. The Presidential Media Division, issuing a release, stated that the President, as a leader who respects democracy, joined in the discussion with the Parliamentary Select Committee. The President agreed to the discussion upon considering a request put forward by the Parliamentary Select Committee with regards to obtaining the views and proposals of the President. Parliamentarian Nalinda Jayatissa expressed his views on the next course of action of the committee.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says it is not realistic to go for a constitutional amendment without a majority in the Parliament. The Premier expressed these views participating in the ceremony held today to lay the foundation stone for the second trilingual national school that is being constructed under the Nearest School, Best School project. This school will be constructed in a 12-acre plot of land at Dansalwatta in Pasyala, Mirigama. It is an investment of 1,142 million rupees. The school is set to be declared open next year as a fully fledged school equipped with smart classes. The school will accommodate students from grade 6 to grade 13. The ceremonial plaque was unveiled and the foundation stone was laid amidst the chanting of Seth Pirith. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said at the beginning of this week a number of civil organizations and social and religious institutes put forward a request for the 20th Amendment to the Constitution proposed by the JVP to be passed in Parliament as a matter of urgency. The Premier stated although he did not participate in the discussions, the President yesterday inquired from him as to whether the matter can be discussed with the Cabinet of Ministers. However, the Premier explained his previous summoned the Cabinet of Ministers and it was noted that the diverse opinions prevail on the topic. Thereby, the Prime Minister had apprised the President on the various views and said he is unable to confirm whether there is an agreement amongst the members of the Cabinet. Therefore, the Premier stated that each political party needs to take a discussion on this topic. Prime Minister Wickremesinghe pointed out it is not possible to pass a constitutional amendment in Parliament without the support of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, as 150 voters need to be received in favour for such a legislation to be passed in the House. The Premier stated an open discussion on this topic is needed. This needs to be done with the election. The Premier concluded the views of all concerned parties to be taken into consideration and thereafter final need to be discussion takes place. The Speaker and a number of people's representatives together with residents of the area were present at the ceremony.
Now, Minister Sajith Premadasa says his objective is to bring about a strong economy in the country, centered on the common masses in which all citizens can enjoy high living standards. He says he wants everyone to join hands with him for this objective to be achieved. The Minister expressed these views participating in the Samita 7 mobile service program held in the Surya Vavar Divisional Secretariat Zone in Hambantota to award benefits to families in the area. Alongside the mobile service, 634 beneficiaries were gifted cement worth 9.5 million rupees by the Minister. A number of invitees, including State Minister Dilip Valdarachi, were in attendance.
An Adhisthana Puja was held with the participation of the Mahasangha at the Vihara Mahadevi Park today. The Mahasangha, who arrived from many areas of the country, held the Ashirwad Puja before the statue of Lord Buddha at the Vihara Mahadevi Park. The intention of this puja was to invoke blessings upon Minister Sajid Premadasa and was organized by the All Ceylon Tri-Chapter Sangha Front. After the puja, the Sangha proceeded on foot to Independence Square in procession.
Now, Minister Thalathatha Korala states they are totally against abolishing the executive presidency when a presidential election has been declared. She expressed these views speaking at a media briefing held together with Minister Ranjit Madhumabandara and non-cabinet Minister Ravindra Samaravira in Colombo today. Minister Thalathatha Korala said they will not agree to any dialogue on abolishing the executive presidency or the electoral system at a moment when all of them are prepared for the next presidential election. She affirmed they will secure victory at the presidential election, and at this juncture, if anyone is to raise the topic of abolishing the executive presidency, Deputy Leader Sajid Premadasa, who represents their party, as well as all parties that represent the government, will oppose the move. She detailed when the cabinet session was being called under the patronage of the president, they queried as to whose idea this is, to which the president responded that he has received a request. Minister Korala said it is evident to them as to who made the request, but they are not prepared to discuss further details on the matter.
And UNICEF, together with the United Nations Development Programme and the Country Office for Sri Lanka and the Maldives of the International Labour Organization, co-hosted a multi-partner dialogue bringing together key stakeholders in the skills and training ecosystems in the country. Speaking at the event, Director of the ILO Country Office for Sri Lanka and the Maldives, Simran Singh, said rising youth unemployment is a pressing economic and social issue across societies, which is compounded by multiple factors. Therefore, investing in equipping the youth for the future types of jobs is a long-term collaborative effort which requires multiple stakeholders working together to addressing the issue. According to the Labour Office for survey in 2019, the highest unemployment rate is reported from the age group just after completing the GCE advanced level examination. The survey indicates that the youth unemployment rate for the age group between 15 to 24 is currently at 21.6%. A shortage of skilled labour and mismatches with the demands of the labour market are two of the contributing factors.
Now, railway workers commenced work to rule trade union action with effect from last night. The trade union action was centered on a number of issues, including speed limits. The Railway Administration states due to a fault affecting the entire signal system, a number of trains were delayed. Passengers were severely inconvenienced. Therefore, for the convenience of the passengers, they were permitted to travel today without purchasing tickets. However, this evening a tense situation prevailed at the Colombo Fort Railway Station.
The government has decided to pay 6,000 rupees each as a monthly interim allowance for the families of missing persons from the month of November. The Ministry of Finance states the family members of police and Tri-Forces personnel reported missing in action can also obtain this allowance. Cabinet approval has been received to pay this monthly interim allowance of 6,000 rupees for the families of missing persons, which was proposed by Minister of Finance Mangala Samaravira in 2019 budget. The Office of Missing Persons, which was established in August last year, in an interim report recommended the granting of interim relief for families who produce a certificate of absence claiming the disappearance of a family member. The recommendation was incorporated in the 2019 budget. Thereby, the 6,000 rupee interim relief allowance will be deposited into the bank account of the holder of the certificate of absence. The Ministry of Finance states the interim relief allowance will be paid until the Office of Reparations, which will be established in the near future, commences the payments of compensations and the reparative payments. The Minister of Finance further states the interim relief allowance is in no way an obstacle to the right to claim proprietary and justifiable reparation through legal proceedings. So far, 656 families of missing persons in the north and the south have been issued with certificates of absence. The General Department has been granted cabinet approval to recruit additional staff on contract basis to expedite the process of issuing certificates of absence.
Now, Chairman of the Elections Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, says steps will be taken to hold the presidential election at the scheduled date in accordance with the powers vested in the Elections Commission. Now, he expressed these views joining in the Ayubovan Subadawasa program telecasted over Rupavahini today. Chairman of the Elections Commission, Mahinda Deshapriya, says the Parliament cannot stop the Elections Commission from declaring a presidential election. It is only the Supreme Court that can pronounce an order in this respect. He further stated he is optimistic and is all for going ahead with conducting the presidential elections. He calls on the voters not to have any doubts. He also stated behaving like retards, giving petty emphasis to race, religion and caste, and clinging on to bigotry does not reflect democracy. That is aggression. He stressed fuller support should be given to all those who are against violence. For this, it is necessary to engage in grassroots level discussions with one's supporters. Therefore, he called on everyone's support at this juncture.
Deposits in views of the forthcoming presidential election were accepted from candidates at the election secretariat today as well. 2 political parties and 1 independent candidate submitted their deposits today. So far, 3 recognized political parties and 3 independent groups have made deposits. Deposits were also made on behalf of presidential aspirant of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The deposits were submitted by the secretary to the party, Attorney at Law Sagara Karivasam. Former parliamentarian Venerable Aparake Panyananda Thera, who is contesting as an independent candidate, submitted deposits today. Leader of the Apeshana Balaya party, Saman Pereira, also made deposits today.
Now, police media spokesman SP Ruwan Gunasekara says full security will be provided for the Alpitiya Pradesh Sabha elections. Postal voting is set to take place on the 27th of this month and the 4th of next month. Police media spokesman SP Ruwan Gunasekara says steps have been taken to provide full security for the Galle District Secretariat, and the police headquarters has provided the necessary guidelines to the senior officials of the Galle and Alpitiya divisions. It has been planned to deploy a special police team headed by an assistant superintendent of police. In addition, police mobile patrols will cover the post offices that will be accepting and distributing postal voting ballot papers. He also added the Elections Commission has requested for enhanced security measures to be implemented. The police media spokesman further stated strict security measures will be implemented in view of the presidential elections to be held on the 16th of November. Focusing on the forthcoming presidential election, the police media spokesman said the police headquarters have taken steps to instruct for the establishment of operations units for every police station and police division.
We now focus on several legal cases. The Colombo Chief Magistrate Court today ordered to take up for hearing on the 23rd of this month the case filed against 8 defendants, including former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa, in connection with the Avantgarde floating armoury. The Bribery Commission had filed this case against defendants upon charges that by permitting Avantgarde Maritime Services to operate at a floating armoury at the seas of the Galle harbour during the previous administration, the government had incurred a loss of 11.5 billion rupees. The Colombo High Court today announced that on the 9th of October, the decision will be announced on the revision application filed by Attorney General preparatory to the ruling given by the Colombo Magistrates Court relating IGP Pooja Jasundra and former Defence Secretary Hemasiri Fernando on bail. Allegations have been levelled against Hemasiri Fernando and Pooja Jasundra in connection with failing to prevent the series of attacks on Easter Sunday. The Supreme Court today ordered to take up for hearing on the 24th of this month the fundamental rights petition calling on the court to issue an order prohibiting the LPTA Pradesh Sabha election. The petition has been filed by 3 voters of the LPTA electorate.
Now, a fire that occurred this morning has reportedly torched a 5-storied clothing outlet at the Gala Junction in Hekitha, Wattala. The fire, which erupted in one of the top floors, had later spread. Residents in the area say although the fire brigade was alerted, no response was received until close to 1 hour thereafter. The fire was extinguished together with the assistance of the Navy due to the blaze, which raged for around 3 hours. Severe traffic congestion was also reported along the New Gumbo Road. The reason for the fire has still not been ascertained. The Wattala police are conducting further investigations. Now, the Colombo International Book Exhibition commenced at the BMICH this morning. DC Manjunath at the Indian High Commission graced the inauguration. The book fair is being organized for the 21st year and the national television is the official television media sponsor. This exhibition is organized annually by the Sri Lanka Book Publishers Association. A large gathering including local and foreign publishers were in attendance at the inauguration ceremony this morning, together with President of Sri Lanka Book Publishers Association, Vichita Yapa. This year, more than 445 exhibition stalls have been added, and significantly, stalls display books from countries such as India, China, Britain, Malaysia, Iran and Taiwan. In addition, school equipment and other accessories can be purchased under the special discounts at this exhibition. A ceremony was also organized to award scholarships to selected students. The national television has opened a stall titled Drew Entertainment, and viewers can purchase recordings of various programs. Meanwhile, the book authored by former Chief Justice Shirani Bandaranaike was released this morning.
The CMI Quiz Challenge 2019, which is a management quiz program organized by the Chartered Management Institute Sri Lanka, is set to take place on the 23rd of October in Colombo.
The media institutions and heads.
The biennial event will take place from a live table quiz open for organizations in the public and private sectors. 40 teams are expected to take part in the competition, with each team consisting of 5 members. The quiz, first commenced in 2014, would be structured on management and leadership, business management, corporate governance, general knowledge, current affairs and sports, covering all professional sectors in the country. The objective of the quiz is to enhance the professional standards of Sri Lanka managers and create great networking among the management fraternity.
So where our main role is to make sure that independence, transparency is maintained.
And Ambassador Grace Ashirwatham presented her credentials to King Philip, King of Belgium, at the Royal Palace in Brussels as the new ambassador of Sri Lanka to Belgium recently. Following the official ceremony, Ambassador Ashirwatham had a private audience with the King. During the discussion, the long-standing historical ties between Sri Lanka and Belgium were recalled. It was noted that in recent times, economic ties with Belgium have grown steady fast and total trade has exceeded Euro 500 million. More than 32 Belgian companies have invested in Sri Lanka, and tourist arrivals from Belgium had increased by 30% last year. The prospects from Belgium to provide technical assistance to the areas of health care and recycling was also discussed.
Now, Ambassador Grace Ashirwatham called on the Secretary General of the World Customs Organization at the headquarters of the World Customs Organization in Brussels recently. The meeting focused on further strengthening of cooperation between WCO and Sri Lanka in the areas of technical assistance for human resource development and capacity building. Secretary General Makuria also offered to help the project undertaken by the Sri Lanka Customs to establish a customs academy. The Secretary General advised Sri Lanka to avail of the services of the Regional Intelligence Liaison Office in the Republic of Korea and the Regional Office for Capacity Building in Thailand to develop cooperation in the respective fields.
Meanwhile, excavation work at Sri Lanka's third largest graphite mine, which is located at the Athanagala Karasnagala graphite mine, has commenced today. This is the third graphite mine for which a license for excavations to commence was issued after the Second World War. With the end of the Second World War, the demand for graphite decreased, thereby resulting in the operations of this mine coming to a standstill. The National Geological Surveys and Mines Bureau has granted approval for excavations to be carried out up to a depth of 150 feet in this graphite mine, which is more than 100 years old. This is after the necessary environmental evaluations and technical research was completed. The Circon Development Private Company Limited has invested $500 million for the project, which has been coordinated by the Ceylon Graphite Institute. The objective is to obtain 5,000 tons of graphite annually. The project will be monitored by the National Geological Surveys and Mines Bureau, while the objective is to export graphite not as a raw material but as a finished product.
Now in your stock update this evening, the All Shares Price Index closed at 5,793.89 points, dropped by 17.15 points, and the S&P SL 20 Index closed at 2,766.06 points, also dropped by 20.89 points at the end of trading in the Colombo Stock Exchange today. Turnover is over 542 million rupees. Now in your weather update this evening, the Met Department says that the prevailing showery conditions are expected to enhance over the island within the next few days. The Met Department also said that showers of thunder showers will occur at times in western, Sabarakamuwa, southern, central and northwestern provinces, with fairly heavy falls up to 100 millimeters are likely at some places in these areas. Several spells of showers will occur in Anuradhapura, Jaffna and Mana districts. Showers of thunder showers can be expected after 2 p.m. Fairly heavy falls about 50 millimeters are likely at some places. General public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by lightning activity.
And with that, we conclude tonight's news. Do it just tomorrow at the very same time. Good night.
Good night.